Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, His Excellency Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good evening, Your Excellency.
Good evening. How are you?
How are you? Well, Your Excellency, how did you follow today President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi swearing in for a third new presidential term? How did you see this as a new mandate from the Egyptian people?
I followed it closely all over the day, and I even listened twice or three times to the president's speech and to the speaker of the parliament. We have to listen quite carefully to what is going on, really, as citizens and as people who can affect our community to the sake of better Egypt and for development. And
yes.
Just right now, I put on my Facebook page a sort of conversation between the president and myself. This happened 10 years ago when I asked him to pray for God to help him. And I told him, and my article titled, God Help You. God help you, and what you are facing is not something at your standard. You can always face all what we are facing, and we can solve all the problems. It doesn't need International Monetary Fund or World Bank or experts. It needs a political will, and it needs the people to be behind you in your way to make Egypt better and better.
Yes. So, Your Excellency Ambassador Bayoumi, how did you follow the speech by the President today before the Parliament during swearing in as for the third presidential term in office? The President taking the oath in the new administrative capital. First, how did you see the significance of the President taking the oath in the new administrative capital and also from the new headquarters of the Parliament?
About the place, it's very good because we need a sort of information to the people. Where is the new capital? What is going on? That we are not spending money for nothing. All the countries who make a new capital, they spend a lot in order, because we don't build a parliament every day. So if we build a parliament, it has to be the best place in the world. If we build a mosque or a church, it must be the best of the world. So I was following this part of the occasion. Second, the speech of the president, it was a sort of a program. He promised us to do this and that, and really I was pleased with the program. He will concentrate on development, taking care of the needy classes, go everywhere in order to supply us with housing, with health care, with education, with infrastructure and roads. Some people are angry about the roads, by the way, and I don't know how we can produce without roads, how we can export or import without roads. And the president talked about our foreign policy, which is my function, of course. I spent the last 62 years in the Foreign Office, and I know that Egypt has one of the best foreign office in the whole world. And our foreign policy, we can always be proud of, where whenever any country disagree with us, they spent 40 years until they are convinced and they followed us. May I give you quick examples? When the Russians were angry with Gamal Abdel Nasser when he joined the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, GATT, because in their opinion it was a sort of imperial organization. The Russian accessed to the GATT 43 years after Egypt. When the Americans were angry with Gamal Abdel Nasser when he recognized the new Chinese regime under the Mao Zedong and the new regime of China. Now, after 50 years, China is the largest partner in trade and investment with the United States, and China is the largest holder of US dollars as a reserve. Many things like that, which shows us as diplomats and as citizens that our country is always on the right track concerning its foreign policy. We are a country which established the United Nations system. We are coming from a country which established the oldest regional organization, which is the Arab League. We are members of what we established also in Africa, the African Union. We established the Group of 77, which is 140 countries, which is the developing countries. We are proud of our foreign policy, and I think it works and it pays back whatever we spend on it.
So also, Your Excellency Ambassador Bayoumi, the President today in his speech have vowed to fulfill the aspirations of the Egyptian people and to continue with the path of building the nation, not only to stop after all the achievements that has been taking place 10 years ago, but the President promised to continue building the nation, and also he spoke about the transparency that he was his track since he came to office for the state and the nation, adding that there were great leaps that were made in very short period amid many hardships that Egypt passed through. How did you read these words?
Very important. I am proud of what we are doing, and really I am encouraging the government and the president before that to continue developing our country with full speed, because some people are asking to slow down the development process. This will cost us. I will give you one small example, that the nuclear reactor which we are building in the north coast of Egypt with the Russian help, we shall pay for it $29 billion. I was partner in this process in the 80s when we were going to buy this same nuclear center for $2.3 billion. So if we don't accelerate the process, we pay 10 or 12 times the price. So I ask all of us to support the government, to support the process of development in order to gain more and more and to save money and to save time.
Also, Your Excellency Ambassador Bayoumi, the President spoke about increasing the area or promised for the increase of the area of agriculture and the production levels in order to achieve Egypt's food security, and also building or providing budget for the agricultural sector.
This is another challenge, of course, because we have to feed ourselves. What we are producing of agriculture products and food products is not enough. And we have a food gap all over the Arab world, which is exceeding $50 billion for the Arab world. So what we are doing is on the right track. We have to enlarge our agriculture area in order to produce more and more of our agricultural products. Thank God that also we are in a good situation concerning our agricultural exports, and we are one of the main exporters to the European Union of potatoes, vegetables, and fruits, and we are really making good money from this. All our farmers are in fond of producing potatoes in order to supply to Europe. So this is also one side of our economic plan, but we never forget that we also shall concentrate on industry, car industry, transport industry, telecommunication, and so on.
Yes. Also, Your Excellency, Ambassador Bayoumi, President spoke about the participation of the private sector in various developmental fields in order to expand it during the new coming years, and also controlling spending and reducing public debt.
Yes, public debt is something which is in deep concern to all of us. But I take what our experts are telling us, that we did not exceed the limits. Take the United States, which is borrowing 2.5 times its GDP. Egypt is still less than 60 or 70% of our GDP. But of course, we are not indebting our country. But the good news here, that we are not borrowing money to eat. We are borrowing money to establish projects and to produce more and more. Then one day we shall meet zero borrowing and more production, whether it is industry or agriculture or services.
Yes. So I thank you very much for your time. I thank you for your valuable information. Your Excellency, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister.